In this lesson, I'm gonna be pretty much doing a part 2 on this class / the understanding. I did through the spirit, myself and the brother Mahar. Pretty much we touched on the congregation, and its uses and what it is actually to be and how one is to conduct themselves in it, and how it's not the boys club, a Boy Scout club. And in this lesson, I'm just gonna be pretty much doing a comparison, like a Boy Scout versus a man of the Lord, because we didn't necessarily go into everything, all the functions and whatnot, and how exactly, as far as everything, the congregation of the Lord, which is this truth that we're in on, the spiritual gathering and the doctrine and certain occasions, physically and ultimately one that will become, us physically being back together, the nation of Israel, starting with us believers that are in, which will be mentally, spiritually, and physically. All right, we would be back united as the race of Israel, but we didn't necessarily go into all that. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna break another part of it into this, which is, being able as a believer brother, who's basically supposed to be a man, or becoming more of a man, or becoming the best man you can be to the best of your ability. We're going to be dealing with Boy Scouts versus a man, which is somebody who sees this thing as a Boy Scout club, but more so carry themselves like a Boy Scout versus a man of the Lord, which someone who's about business and see, and carries themselves as a man, according to the scriptures, a man of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Okay, but before I get going into this, Shalom and call Halam La Yahweh Shemel Shai, Wahara Kakodash, and double honors to the hopefully like elder men on down at the Great Millstone Church that that's slated to be saved, Lord willing, onward on down Shalom and onward down, and Shalom to the men that have been out here and may be out here under the same doctrine, onward to the Akim here at this faction of this hopefully elect assembly, and the order teaching, giving all diligence and all truth, faith, and sincerity, onward to the rest of you Akim doing likewise, and to the rest of you believers as well, and on this faith of Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shah, you few women, children, and some men of the Israelite race. So I have here the Boy Scout definition, which we're going to just pretty much create, we're going to use to set, the perspective, set up your perspective, to going forward as far as when I'm addressing the Boy Scouts, right? My brother is more so on Boy Scout mode, and as well, we also going to get the word man to create the perspective going forward for when I will be speaking, using the scriptures, of course, as always, regarding a man of the Lord, a man of Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai. And you can be able to assess, and see where you may be, or where, if you're obviously right at no point how you need to be right, someone next to you may be. All right. It's gonna, the word makes manifest. It makes I'm gonna grab it. So I have Ephesians 5:13. But all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light. Yeah, and the light is what? John 1:1. The Lord sent the word, and it had lighted upon men. Isaiah 9:8, roughly paraphrasing that. Isaiah 9:8, the Lord sent the word into Jacob, and it had lighted upon Israel. So these scriptures that I'm going to use, right, and pretty much back up these definitions to back up these definitions. But it says, so, but all things that are reproved are made manifest by the light. Whatsoever do make manifest is light. Right. And it says what? Wherefore he saith, awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Hamashiach shall give thee light, which is the word. So that's what we're going to do here. You know, we're going to make this manifest that you can't have brothers that's in Boy Scout mode. You might be in Boy Scout mode. You will have brothers that might, as men, that's actually, you know, men or men of the Lord. All right. We can be in this state if we're not conducting ourselves properly in this congregation or have the right perspective regarding this congregation, which would dictate and bring forth certain actions, you know, and that being one of someone that's like a Boy Scout. So let's get the definition. It says, a member of the Boy Scouts of America. It says or a similar organization of boys. So these aren't men. An honest, friendly, and typically naive man. See? Because really, every individual of the male gender, once they hit a certain age, they're actually a man, but they might not be able to be, they might not be in the framework of a man. They might not be in a frame, you know, complete construction of a man, you know, which would be through their perception, what they don't get, what they, certain responsibilities they not holding themselves to, you know, and so forth. Such, you know, things such as that. So that would be the result of one who's actually a man still being looked at or deemed, or really still mentally, you know, at the end of the day, a boy. So an honest, friendly, and typically naive person or naive man. Now we get the word naive. It says of a person or action showing a lack of experience, wisdom, or judgment, right? So let's go here. And I'm going to actually read the second one before I get this first scripture. It says of a person, natural and unaffected, innocent. So we go here. 1 Corinthians 13:11. It says, when I was a child, I'm actually grab this one first. Isaiah 46:8. Remember this and shew yourselves men. Bring it again to mind, O ye transgressors. So yeah, remembering these scriptures, keeping this in your frontal lobe, in your forefront. All right. And then in and involved in and at the, you know, the center of all things you do. And even say, it says Ephesians 5 and Salakia. I'm actually grab this too real quick. This is 2 Thessalonians 3:1. Finally, brethren, pray for us that the word of the Lord may have free course and be glorified, even as is with you. Right. So, and I'm going to read this in the NLT. It says, finally, dear brothers and sisters, we ask you to pray for us. Pray that the Lord's message will spread rapidly and be honored wherever it goes, just as when it came to you. Right. So, which should be the case because it's supposed to be with you. So I'm just getting this to show that this word is supposed to be involved and you know, and over everything, at the forefront of everything at the end of the day. That's why it says, you know, every knee and tongue shall bow and confess You know, that Yahweh Shemi Shai is Lord. You know, every knee. So in all things. So this is supposed to be with you in all things. This is the attitude of a man. This will be the frame. This will help, you know, a man, someone of the male gender, to truly be a man, right? Because this is how the man thinks, which is the Most High. God is a man of war. Everything that's said in these scriptures is what he thinks. So he says that every knee and tongue shall bow and confess. So this is supposed to have, it's supposed to go free course, supposed to be everywhere. I'm gonna get one more. Okay, so I have a better one, a more clear one. Colossians 3:23. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily. See, and whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men. Okay, and not unto men. All right, it's in the NLT. Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. So this is just making it clear that pretty much the Lord is supposed to be involved and at the forefront of everything we do, man. All right. And that would help have a completely constructed man, right? Because this is how the Heavenly Father thinks. This is what he says. He's a man. So not only will it make you a man, but it will make you a man of the Lord. Okay. Now, 1 Corinthians 3:13-11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And how do you do that? By remembering the truth, you know, by remembering these scriptures. Okay? You don't have to remain in a naive state. Hence, a Boy Scout, an honest and typically naive man, right? See right here, it says, stop acting like such a Boy Scout. You know, and I like to say this a lot, you know, it's not the Boy Scout club or this ain't the Boy Scouts. But anyway, and when you go into it, it says naive, because that's what, you know, a Boy Scout is. A naive person, it says, of a person or action showing a lack of experience, wisdom, or judgment. Men can't afford that. It's specifically the men of the Lord. You're not supposed to see that going on from one, you know, and then one's, you know, if anyone that's in this truth, this school of knowledge, this school of, you know, teachers, men of the Lord, judges, governors, those of the hopeful elect, you know, you shouldn't see that. Those that know what's going on, those that's not bugged out, you know, you're not supposed to see someone have a naive disposition, a Boy Scout disposition. That's not what we're here for, you know. And if that's being put to you, you still carrying yourself like that, you know, that's off. You know, that's completely off. So it's once again says showing a lack of experience, wisdom, or judgment. It says we're going to get some synonyms. Immature. Having or showing an emotional or intellectual development appropriate to someone younger, right? You know, like a little kid, you know, like they got that saying right here, wet, you still wet behind the ears, lacking experience and immature. What you gonna have these things, you know, you got men that didn't experience the world necessarily, you know, and even if you did, we all still learn, but you wanna make sure you're not you're not someone that's completely and only consisted of these things. You know, that's why the scriptures say, examine thyself to see whether thou be in the faith. Because if you in the faith, you're not gonna be like this, to the point where you're basically not a man of the Lord. You just out here like a Boy Scout, or as if you're in the Boy Scouts club. You're in a Boy Scout club. Nah, man. Ignorant. It says lacking knowledge or awareness in general, uneducated or unsophisticated. Now this don't mean take on this disposition like you know everything in front. Nah, you here to get built up. But you have some that pretty much coming to this not knowing they're not able to differentiate. They're not able to. They forget the Lord. You're not supposed to come into this acting like. Let me pull the scripture back up. 1 Corinthians 13:11. You're not supposed to come into this, right? Find yourself in moments where you not carrying yourself like a man, which I gotta get the framework for that now, so to make this all make sense, right? Because we know now a Boy Scout is someone that's completely unaware. They don't know what's going on. Basically, they concerns, their emotional intelligence, their responses, their conduct, how they react, how they is one of a little kid that doesn't know Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai. Know what's on the line. Know what's needed. Know what's expected of them. Know what's the duty of man. Forget their duties. If you forget your duty, that tell you you're not a man, because that tell us, let me grab that real quick. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shai and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So this is for men. So if you acting like you don't know the duties, you're not holding yourself to the duties. You're not in the framework of a man of the Lord. You couldn't be a man of the Lord. You will basically fit the criteria. You basically have the things needed to be deemed a Boy Scout. You have the perspective, and the conduct of someone that's said to be a Boy Scout. Well, just a boy. Your duties is not to hold yourself accountable and stable. You're being emotional. I'm gonna get one more. This is Proverbs in the 25th chapter and the 28th verse. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down without walls. Right. And it's so crazy, because that's the exact definition for what a man is. So this person is not stable. He's not emotionally stable. You're not able to respond to situations like a man, which is someone that's said to be what? Fortified. Really what you're going to see. Man. It says an adult male human being. I'm going to just get to the point. It says of a personnel work at, run, or operate, in parentheses, a place or piece of equipment, or defend a fortification. See, a fortification. What is a fortification? It says a defensive wall or other reinforcement built to strengthen a place against attack, right? Someone that has strength, someone that's completely built up, someone it says synonym is stiffening. They're fortified. They're built against anything that could try to get them to respond off, you know. And with that being the case, this is what a man is. This is his framework. He's not gonna respond like a little boy or emotional when it comes to certain things, you know. And you know, men have feelings too. Men can get hurt, you know, but the difference is between a man, and more specifics, specifically a man of the Lord versus a boy or a Boy Scout, is that the boy or Boy Scout always responds emotionally, because that they're not able to go above that, you know. So if you could find yourself always doing that, you know, and you in this truth, you in this like you in this like this a boy, you know, Boy Scout club. You out here like a Boy Scout. You're not out here like a man of the Lord, man. Completely. You're supposed to be fortified. With so many scriptures come to mind for that. But yeah, when you go back into these definitions, it tell you that, man. So a man, meanings, it says a place or piece of equipment, or defend a fortification. Okay, so a man of the Lord is supposed to be able to hold themselves together, hold things together. They're set up as a defense, you know. So if you ain't able to defend and hold yourself together when you attack, you know, how are you gonna be able to do that for anybody else? You couldn't be a man of the Lord. That's the point of it. That's why the Lord need men, you know. That's why he said, my voice, you know, let me grab that. Proverbs 8:4, unto you, O men, I call, and my voice is to the sons of man. Exactly. So this is why, because the framework of a man, right, is as a defense. When you go to Isaiah 32:2, it says, I'm gonna actually start at 2. It says, and a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind. Why? Because the framework of a man, the structure of a man, you know, is you know, made to be one of defense. You know, built like a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. So reason why is because the framework of a man is one that's able to stand and be as a defense. He's not easily taken. You know, he's not easily moved, you know. Period. He can stand on the front line. Now, are you fit for that? Well, not if you're not able to deal with things that affect you. You know, how can you, you know, and defend yourself from that? How can you do that for someone else? You know, for the elect, for the remnant. Paul said he endureth all things for the elect's sake. That's the framework of a man. Paul is a man. That's why Paul said what? Let me get it. 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. See? Paul said this. I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. Right. And because Paul understood he was a man, and what the man was set up for. Hence, not even just a man, but a man of the Lord. That's why he said, I'm going to make a man more precious. The Most High said he's going to make a man more precious than fine gold. You know, than the golden wedge of Ophir. It was a land abundant in gold. He's going to make a man more precious than a land abundant and flowing with gold. You know? All right. because that man is going to completely understand that. That man is going to be completely be fortified. You know, he's going to completely be able to keep his mindset how he needs to and keep the mission at the forefront. The exact, Lord can use him, but you ain't. So you're not going to be able to get that out of a boy. Someone that's in the Boy Scout spirit, someone that don't want to do that. You're more so, if you find yourself in the truth, you're more so like that. In these ways, you are a Boy Scout. This is not the This is not the Boy Scouts. And then you're looking for everybody else around you to be like that, and when they don't, you become even more offended. Let me grab that. Matthew 11:6. Blessed is he whosoever shall not be offended in me. Right. But you get offended because, right, basically, if you got men that come around, right, men that may come around other men, which are actually men of the Lord, they're in the spirit of developing and becoming more like Yahweh Shai, the men of the Lord, the great men before us, the famous men, right, going into Sirach, the 44th or 43rd chapter, right, which is a man of, no folly, a man about business, a man about defending, protecting. And like say the other men that may come up, they want to play games, they still in they folly, and they offended in that. And they like Paul said, though I be rude in speech, yet not in knowledge. In the spirit of lifting up his voice to Israel and showing and declaring unto like a trumpet and telling Jake they sins, telling people they off, rebuking men sharply, rebuking people sharply that they may be sound in the face like a man, a disposition of not only a man but a man of the Lord, which is going to really have power behind it, and say whatever it is they being corrected on, say they have that happen to them, right? The men that come up still in their folly, by the men that's in that spirit, that come up that's in the spirit of the Lord, etc., right? And say whatever they tell them makes them emotional. And they get emotional about it. But then, so they basically offended. But then, or I should even wait, right? But then they look around, right, and see the responses of those that rebuked them to the response they had, which is an emotional one. And it's a response of basically not caring, like let me grab it. Isaiah 51:58-1. Cry aloud, spare not. See, it's of a spirit like that. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet and shew my people their transgression and the house of Jacob their sins. Right. And say they see their response to how they responded to them rebuking them is one of not sparing, not caring, not sparing their feelings. And they get offended in that. They get completely offended in that. At them being in the at the men of the Lord. That person that's on that end of being like that, being offended, that's not a man of the Lord. Because the men of the Lord is said to be hard, like, because you're not gonna make it being like that. You gotta make it about the business. You know what I'm saying? Like Job said, I will harden myself in sorrows. In order for Job to get back everything he had on the way, he had on the way back to him, that was on the way back to him, he had to endure. He had to become hard, so he can stay around for when the appointed time, when all those things he lost will come back to him. And ultimately, he actually will come up because he end up getting everything back and more. Right? But my point more so is what you seeing the difference. Those are just clear indications, you know. But they pretty much, like going back to the example, these men that come up and that situation go down, you know, these men that come up that's in their folly, you know, they men, but they still in their folly, no matter what age, right? And they are dealing with men of the Lord. They're going to be offended if they can't deal, man. You know, they get offended at the rebuke that they give them so they could become like men of the Lord. And then when they respond emotionally, which is like what? A boy, going back to the Boy Scout meaning, right? You go into, I would say, is of a person that's honest and etc., but they naive. It's a naive man. And you go into that mean it meant emotional. But they look at them responding or not responding from their perspective to the emotional, you know, outburst they're ready to have, or emotional breakdown, mental breakdown, inward breakdown that they have, and then they become offended at it, as if they going off. But that just shows you that's somebody that's a boy, and they think they're in a Boy Scout club. They think these are Boy Scouts, as if these men are Boy Scouts. No, these are the men of the Lord, man. That's how it's gonna be. So I got a couple more. Read this again, Proverbs 25, and man, this made me think of another one, man. You know, we got this. Psalms 141:5. Let the righteous smite me; it shall be a kindness. Exactly. And let him reprove me; it shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head, nor for yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities. Right. And I'm going to read this in the NLT. Let the godly strike me; it will be kindness. If they correct me, it is soothing medicine. Don't let me refuse it. Exactly. So no matter how it may come off, no matter how nasty it may be, it's good for you. Like some medicine, it says, but I pray constantly against the wicked and their deeds. Right. These are not actually men. These are not actually wicked men. These aren't, you know, men that's supposed to be acting like men, but they're acting like, you know, they're in this a Boy Scout club. They're not playing with the Lord. They're not handling the word of the Lord deceitfully. Like Yahushua said, know ye not that I must be about my Father's business? Men about business. Because when Yahushua said that, he was at the age of a man. You know, he had became a man. He was a young man, but he became a man. Okay. And and that was another indication of how, you know, a man of the Lord will be. They're about what it's about. Like feelings, not spirit. Okay. He didn't get emotional that he had to tell his parents that, and, you know, etc. He didn't, you know, it wasn't nothing emotional. And then when he grew up, he mastered being like that. He became a man, because it went on and said in that same chapter that the young boy grew, you know, and taught in stature, etc. And then he went on to be the same man that said he lived out, you know, Proverbs, which was things like such as, cease, my son, to hear the instruction that calls thee to err from the words of knowledge. In the instance of like when the mom and his brother came up desiring to speak with him, he said, who is my mother? And, you know, the dude told him, you know, your mother and your brother stand without desire to speak with thee. He said, who's my mother and my brother? Them that do the will of my Father. So Yahushua, he perfected that understanding he had when he first hit manhood as a young man, when he became a man, which is one about business and being fortified and understanding, you know, what it was about, not sparing feelings. Okay, so if you have a man that's pretty much gonna follow him, that's gonna become a man of the Lord like him, right? And they're not able to deal with that, and they, you know, they get dealt with like that though, and they look at them they respond, horribly, and etc. And then they also get offended because they see like, yo, you don't even care, whatever. As if, this not a man of the Lord, and instead of, this is the Boy Scouts club. This man is a Boy Scout. He's supposed to, no, you're off. So once again, it says, let the godly strike me, it will be kindness. If they correct me, it is soothing medicine. Don't let me refuse it, but I pray constantly against the wicked and their deeds. Right. Because Yahushua said, no, wish ye not that I must be about my Father's business. He'll kill you. He'll kill us. He'll take these stones and make them into a people. So I got to be about the business. I must work the works of him now that sent me. Like, we adults here, man. Because when you read that about John, about Paul, what Paul said, he got into the spirit and said that you read Slaki, when you read that in the NLT, it say brothers and sisters. So you sisters, you can't be out here like little girls. Right? All right. But let me grab that. And this is how you are to look at it and respond to it. This is not the Boy Scout Club or the Girl Scout Club. Okay. But, anyway, this is Proverbs 25 and 28. It says, he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. Right. You're not a man. Because you would have responded to it well. So like you said, in your patience possess ye your souls. Build your house upon, rock upon Yahushua. If any man come after me and follow me, let him also deny himself. The harvest is plenty, the laborers are few. Because it ain't many that's in the, it ain't, many want to stay in that Boy Scout spirit, and they not gonna be built up, because when you come into this, you get built up going into 1 Peter in the second chapter. I want to say that is. See if I can grab that. Which is gonna be the result of how you get to being the opposite of Proverbs 25 and 28. Okay, let me grab it. So Proverbs 25 and 28, Salakia. Yeah, Khan, I'm gonna actually start here. This is 1 Peter 2, and I'm gonna start at 2. As newborn babes, desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. Exactly. If so be ye have tasted that the Lord is gracious. Right, so you was a boy, and then you come into this truth. You're supposed to become a man of the Lord, right? And you can't respond to that protocol, that process, as if this the Boy Scout club. You can't be coming into this thinking you a Boy Scout, with the little hat that sit in the middle of your head with the little airplane propellers that the wind blow, with some overalls and a damn tight ass pinstripe shirt with a big ass candy cane lollipop in your head with some Chuck Taylors on. Looking for somebody to teach you how to ride a fucking training wheel bike. That's not what the hell going on here, man. All right, this is not the Boy Scout Club. You're not a Boy Scout. Okay, we're not going door to door handing out, selling cookies. It says, to whom coming as unto a living stone, this allowed indeed of men, but chosen of God and precious. Ye also are lively stones. Ye also, as lively stones, are built up a spiritual house, right, until you develop the framework of a man and the framework of a woman. If you take this congregation, the use of the congregation properly and serious, right, and understand the congregation and the purpose of it for what it is to be correctly. It says, and holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Yahweh Shai, by Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Okay, so there it is, man. I'm gonna actually jump down. It says, unto you, therefore, which believe he is precious, Slack it. Verse 6, it says, "For also it is contained in the scriptures, behold, I lay in Sion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded." Right? If you actually believe, read, understand, listen, take heed, you won't be offended. You'll be like, oh, this is supposed to be going on. You know, that's why they was offended in Yahweh. They was offended at Yahweh Shah so much because he was in the framework of a man of the Lord. He's like, because they was really due to them not knowing the scriptures. They didn't understand the scriptures. He was like, if any man do the will of the Heavenly Father, you know, he shall know if the words I speak are my own. You know, meaning you wouldn't be getting offended if you actually believed, if you actually understood. You know, but a lot of people would read just like they do now. A lot of our people was reading like they do now, if you will, some, and they was stumbling, they was getting offended through reading. So when a man that came on the scene that actually, you know, had it written of him to do the entire will, they was completely offended at him. You know, meaning when they would read, they'd see things that they didn't like, it was distasteful, and they'd cast it away. You know what I'm saying? Like when something bitter, you probably spit it out. But that's bad if it's something that's good for you and you still spit it out. You should actually still take it in, which a lot of our people was doing. So when the man came on the scene, that was actually about what the scriptures are saying, which is Yahweh Shai. That's why he said it was written of me to do thy will. He was completely distasteful of everybody. Everybody sat him to the side. He was too hard for them. That's why he's compared to a stone. But why is that? Why do you only take that as bad? Because a stone multifunctional. You can build a house upon a stone, but also a stone can get you hurt. Also, you could trip over a stone and hurt yourself. You can get offended in the stone. You know, but anyway, it says what? Unto you, therefore, which believe, he is precious. But unto them which be disobedient, the stone which the builders disallowed, the same is made the head of the cornerstone. See? And a stone of stumbling and a rock of offense. Even to them which stumble at the word. See? They would actually read the word, but when they would read it, they would get offended. So when a man came on the scene doing the whole thing, he actually consisted of things they didn't like about the word. You know? They, you know, in specifics, certain men, I don't know, you know, because they wanted to stay in the Boy Scout spirit. They were still little boys. They didn't like when I, you know, instances of, even though that wasn't written at the time, but for example, when Paul said, when I became a child, I spake as a child. To some people, that's rude because they know the Heavenly Father telling them, you got to pull away your lollygagging and get the business. You live in a lie. So if Yahweh shall come in that spirit, which is basically just being in the spirit of the Lord as a man, that's a man of the Lord right there. But they don't like that because they want those other men, but you got other men that would get in dialogue with him and wouldn't like that because they were still boys. They didn't go through the process, the protocol. They took away from the word, so they didn't end up getting built up, meaning they ultimately didn't develop the framework of a man of the Lord, even though they were men. Like this nigga J. Cole, he had a lyric that go, a lot of niggas getting old, but they never grow up, or something like that, you know? And that's this. So you may be a man, but inwardly, mentally, conduct-wise, you're still a little boy, you know, and not a man of the Lord. You in a Boy Scout spirit. Your response to the doctrine, to the ministry, to the duty of a man from the Lord is that of a Boy Scout, you know, which he ain't gonna be able to do nothing with this. It's not even in his field. Like, it's not even in his ability. He's not, you know, equipped. But anyway, it says, even to them which stumble at the word, being disobedient, whereunto they were appointed. So I just want to go back here. Proverbs 25 and 28. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down and without walls. And I'm actually jump up. Verse 20, let's see, I'll start at 26. A righteous man falling down before the wicked is as a troubled fountain and a corrupt spring. In the NLT, it says, if the godly give into the wicked, it is like polluting a mountain or muddying a spring, right? So a man of the Lord is not going to falter to things outside of what he's to be, things that could throw him off. He's not with anything outside of, him, like what's to be. Okay, anything that can filthy him up. He's not gonna want to be like people in the world or have tendencies to lean towards the thinking of people of the world and, side with them and stuff like that. Not gonna submit himself to that way. He's gonna keep his frame. He's gonna keep his frame. And a woman, she's gonna keep her. She truly believes. She's not gonna fall down and submit to the wicked side. They're not going for that. They're about what it's about. A true man, a true woman. It is not good to eat much honey. So for men to seek their own glory is not glory, right? That's another instance of pretty much a man of the Lord versus a Boy Scout, or a Boy Scout versus a man of the Lord, which is what, making it about yourself, like, in whatever regard, due to your emotions, and not remaining non-emotional, but actually remembering this to show yourself a man, which a man of the Lord will only do, which will be the difference. You're not gonna seek your own glory. I got business. I gotta keep it about this. A man is gonna retain his frame. A little boy is gonna succumb to the emotions. A Boy Scout basically gonna be doing everything other than that. He that have no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down, that is broken down and without walls, right? And you have no restraint. You can't keep yourself about the duty. You don't have discipline, and you're basically not a man, but really even a man of the Lord. You in a Boy Scout spirit. This will be of a Boy Scout. I want to read this, Ephesians 5:8. For ye were sometimes darkness, but now ye are light in the Lord. Walk as children of the light. Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're still the sons and daughters of Yahweh Shemel Shah, but we are coming into this now to be in light, to be built up, to develop the framework of the complete, endpoint of our frame, of our genders, which is the framework of a man's framework, a man of Yahweh Shemel Shai's framework, and a woman that's, about Yahweh Shemel Shai, a woman of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Okay? Elect men and women. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth. You're about what's about. You're responsible. It's like when you get kids and you grow the hell up. You got to grow up if you're serious. You put off what you got to do. That's the framework. You rise to the occasion due to the matter. And you end up developing just in regular life, just off things like that. The framework of a woman or a man or a woman, So there it is. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Yeah, same spirit Yahweh Shah was in. Okay? Verse 15, it says, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be ye unwise. Right. A man is about his time. Time is money. And the true money is that which we can profit off of from the scriptures, through tending to the scriptures and the wisdom of the scriptures. It says, wherefore be ye, and so your house don't fall through, because it said it's slothful, by much sleep, the house falleth through. Meaning you end up being destroyed. And a man and a woman, that has a home. They not, they got the family set up. They got responsibilities, things they've been put over. They're not going to allow their emotions, those is in the framework of a man or a woman, they're not going to allow that to, become anything less than that, which would be seen and proven through if they allowed that to be that, them just to be destroyed and falter to things and submit to things, succumb to things. Lives is on the line. Our race on the line. So it says, wherefore, that's the days are, because, through these days being evil. We not playing no games. You can't afford it. It says, wherefore, be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. I'll just read these last ones. 1 Corinthians 13:11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Exactly. And I'm going to I think I might do a part 3 to this, because I wanted to go into the offices as well, regarding the business. I forgot I had that. So if I don't do it on this, I might do it in a part 3. But I'm going to just grab this real quick. This is 2 Thessalonians 3. And that we may be delivered from, I'm going to actually do a part 3 on this, which will be featuring this chapter in 2 Thessalonians. And also I'll leave it for, when I do the part 3 of this. So yeah, let me grab this last scripture. Hebrews 12:15. It says, looking diligently, right, lest any man fail. I'm gonna actually start at 14. Follow peace with all men, because I don't want you to think we just rude, just assholes. We're not long suffering. We don't bear. No, it's not that. We reasonable. We reason, right? But we not to go beyond our means in reasoning, supposed to keep it about what it's about and how we need to in them certain situations, according to certain situations. So in holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. So you got to be peaceful, right? That's how it is. Going into NLT, it says, work at living in peace with everyone and work at living a holy life. For those who are not holy will not see the Lord. Back to the KJV, last verse. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of Yahweh Bashmi Al-Shah. Right. Lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. So you gotta don't come into this truth, and which is an opportunity to gain your life, get the true life, become a man, a woman, whatever, and which is able to be done through this grace period, and you just waste it. You waste your opportunity. The grace period is that opportunity. Okay, so and you start to reject the building process, the responsibility, the call to greatness, the call to excel, the call to be how you need to be, to be the bigger person, to be on business, which will cause, when instead it causes you to be bitter, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to. And by that, and then it troubles you, and by that, you be defiled, meaning you just remain a little boy or go back to being a little boy or a little girl. So you don't want that. So this was just the Boy Scouts versus the Man of the Lord, which is the part 2 of the congregation, class we did, which I'll come back and do a part 3 on regarding the businesses and offices. So with that, call halam la Yahweh Ba'ashmiel Shai Waha Rakakodash. Till next time, Shalom.